Alright, the intro song is starting to fade out, which means that the stream has officially begun. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. Let me get the usual stuff set up real quick. Turn off the starting soon, turn off the intro thing, get the main display capture set up. There we go, now you guys can actually see the screen. There we are. So, as the goal is saying, today's main objective is going to be working on... get my music set at the right volume, so it's not blasting everybody's eardrums out. Alright, about there should be good. Anyways, yeah, so as I said, today we're going to be working on World 4, and I can show you guys a little bit about what that is going to look like, because I've already started work on it. It is called Timely Demise, and it is a, like, hellish themed, like, hell-adjacent fire and all that. I had the wrong launch option. Let me present on that real quick. Set that to... There we go. Yeah, so it's a hell-themed clock tower. So the ideas are like these sort of demon-y enemies. Time distortion could be a fun mechanic. I was thinking I might save that for like a big... for the boss at the end of the world. I think that could be really fun. And then things like this where we'd have this clock tower. Something I made today in Blender is this like gear model. So we've got sort of an alternate take on the windmill blades, but with something in the middle. Like I've got an idea for a section where maybe you'd like get blasted through like a long line of those as they spin around. We could have some going vertical, some going horizontal, and play with that a lot. I have another idea where maybe there's this like translucent surface of the inside of one of the clock towers. So you work your way up through it, and then you get launched out through, and you shatter the glass in the front, and you go flying out. A lot of fun ideas, I think. I've got other ideas for like enemies and stuff, one of which would be like a Shin Megami Tensei-esque summoner, so like somebody with a big computer arm that they use to like press buttons and stuff and summon demons to fight you, and you gotta take them out before the other guys do. We could have these sort of demon-y enemies. Like I said, time distortion. I was thinking like a time wizard character could be like a fun boss. Maybe like that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of fun ground to cover. It feels pretty fitting as like a penultimate world before the 5th and final stage, which I haven't mentioned before. The 5th world is going to be a big mishmash of all the worlds together. So I think this one should offer a lot of potential for being really difficult, feeling like a good big hurrah before the final couple of stages. All in all, really excited to work on this. A lot of cool ideas. Anyways, we got Waffle D, Oro, and Eraser Paste. How's everybody doing? You're doing well. Alright, so usually on these streams, I would have come to you already with a pretty good idea of what the world's going to look like, with a lot of the assets and stuff put together, some of the enemies put together, but I haven't done that yet. Because frankly, I mentioned that I was working on a demo, the Snow Day demo, which, fun fact about the Snow Day demo, it should be coming out sometime this week, and that'll include basically 2 brand new stages that are revamps of the previous demo, one entirely new stage. All in all, it's basically a much better version of the first demo, and that'll be up on Steam for free, hopefully sometime this week. Might take a little longer depending on how long the review process takes, but I just finished up the process on that yesterday, so we're getting working on the next world now. So first thing we need to do is figure out what we want this world to look like. What's our color palette? What's our color scheme? What kind of props do we want to put down? And today's really more of a brainstorming and ideation kind of day. You know, throw everything at the wall, see what sticks, see what doesn't, see what kind of fun ideas we get excited about. So today is definitely a day to be, if you got ideas in your head swirling around there, absolutely feel free to shout those out. So first thing we're going to do is make a folder. Let's call it Demise. This is where we're going to put our textures for this world. And we're going to start by just taking a couple of textures we've already made, probably recoloring them a little bit, and we can make actual custom textures for when we need them, but for now, just trying to get a general idea of what the world is going to look like. So one of the ideas I was having is that there'd be these like floating islands that would have these jagged underbellies to them. And those would be rocky and floaty, and then we'd have a mixture of these clock towers. Some of them would be larger and wider, and it'd be more of a mansion-y aesthetic. The screen's doing the thing where it likes to go black. Let me turn on the backup display capture underneath just in case that bugs out on us again. I still need to figure out a permanent solution to that. Anyways, So I'm thinking we'd have maybe this bluish color for a lot of the ground area. I think that could be an interesting color difference if the background is very red and the death plane especially is super, super red. I'm going to try to make this look a little more flame-y. So that's something we're going to do. But I think if the rest of the world itself uses some more cool colors with things like the gears and stuff, having these warmer colors, it could be really fun color contrast. I do need to make it so that you don't pull me around. That's a problem. Anyways, so let's go ahead and figure out a bit of a color scheme. And I think the purple's not bad. We're going to shift it more towards a blue tint, and we're going to see how we like the look of that. Sure, still looks pretty purple, but let's go ahead and... Oh yeah, we're definitely going to have to remesh you, that's for sure. What's the theme of the world? Oh, it's a Hell Clock Tower, basically. That's why it's called Timely Demise. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is add our Hell Rock material in there. There we go. Now, I do want to ideate a little bit on some of the general aesthetics, because I don't want this to veer too close to just looking like Windmill again, because it is kind of already leaning towards that with the focus being on this big, like, tower structure. So definitely gonna have to do some stuff to ensure that it doesn't feel too similar. And one of the big things is obviously gonna be like clocks and the fire and that sort of thing, and the enemies and color palette will obviously be very different. But finding even more ways to make sure that it feels very distinctive will be good. And another thing that I'm planning on doing is really doubling down on verticality. I found in a lot of the gameplay testing that verticality seems to be something that people tend to struggle with, so I think it'll be a good challenge for a lot of players. So one thing we're gonna do is just make a different color variation of this. Let's give it a slightly richer color. Let's go Dark Hell Rock, like that. There we go. I kind of filled everything else in, didn't really want to do that, but it's fine enough. This is a very icy looking color palette, which could be interesting. Because one of the things that I really want to do with this world is try to make it look and feel very unique. I don't want it to just be like another kind of generic depiction. Like I think if we're gonna go with this sort of theme, it should be more interesting and more standout than just the usual stuff that you would most likely expect. Okay, yeah, but first things first, let's just get the textures and stuff in. So I'll make a new one called Clock Exterior. Let's make this more of like a purpley color. See how that looks. One of the things I do want to do with this world is to not necessarily have it feel too conventional, in terms of just being like a hell level, because a lot of them can kind of look identical from a lot of games, so something that feels very distinctive while also getting across that feeling we're going for is, that's the key goal here. It's our main objective. Let's add a new material. That'll be Clock Exterior. And we'll assign that. It obviously won't actually be a rocky texture. You know what, even just for the sake of testing, let's go ahead and adjust that. What would be a good material for that? Maybe something here would be nice. We could try wavy, or stone, cobblestone, there we go. Something like that, maybe. No, that looks like shit. So I do think we're gonna definitely gonna need to draw up some new textures. Right now I'm just using ones that I've already made for the sake of placeholders, while I figure out the general aesthetic. Maybe crisscross would be good. Because generally we're just trying to get the color palette down first and foremost, and then we'll figure out the exact direction we want this to take. And I think something that will work better for these is if that base texture is a bit more detailed, a bit more rich. something like that, just to make sure it feels like it fits the vibe we're going for. What's it like working in Unreal? It's very fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. Sometimes there's certainly some frustrations here and there, and some weird learning curves and systems that maybe don't feel as intuitive as they should, but there's also the inverse is true, where there's a lot of systems that are super intuitive to use and really fun to work with. I like this engine a lot. It certainly has its problems here and there. One of the bigger ones just being that it's kind of hard to use in terms of like making a game that's lightweight, because even a game like this that is not resource intensive, that is not code intensive, that is not graphically intensive, is still kind of intensive to run just because it uses Unreal. It's probably the biggest like major downside with the engine. But other than that, I like it quite a lot. Okay, so first and foremost, not really too sure about the purple. Don't think that's really gonna work out too well. We could just make it more of like a maroon color. That could be kind of fun. Yeah, because if the background and the plane are a dimmer red, maybe making this more of like a bright, fiery red could be a fun way to make that contrast. Yeah, definitely need some more variety than just having one texture. So to get a better sense of what we want this to look like, let's go ahead and make an alternative, and we'll just call this clock dark. We'll just make this a dimmer color. Just that. There we go. And then if we go to Edit Materials and add that new material we just made, then what we can do is grab certain sections like here where we want to add a bit of emphasis and split it up so it doesn't just feel like one big solid mesh. Give it a little more visual variety. We can just do something like that, which helps break it up a little bit visually. Still kind of does have the same problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at an actual picture of a clock tower and see if we can get some inspiration for what would make this look a little bit stronger. Okay, so something that I'm seeing with these is one, you usually have like the point. Something that might look good is to have the point go up and then in and then back up and then in, if that makes sense. Adding some sort of like little spiky bits to the slants, making sure the slants have a different color. Adding another highlight color around the edge of the clock itself can look pretty nice. Adding in some like windowy textures could look really good. Jutting the edges out a little bit could also be a good thing to try. Okay, I've got a couple ideas. I think the first thing we need to do is give this mesh here a little bit more detail. Because it's kind of lacking right now. It's not super interesting to look at. So if we just, you know what, we'll go a little higher up. Say like right here. So we'll trim this section out. And then, reset grid from actor. Oh, it's because it doesn't perfectly line up because it's, yeah, I see what I did there. Okay. Let's go ahead and shave the whole top up actually then. Okay, so first thing we want to do is get some sort of a central shape like this, and this will be the max height of the tip, something like that. And then what we do is build a little wall section here, something like that. There we go. And then if we extend this section out like so, then do the same here. And then if we grab this section and trim, we should actually, that should be one lower. So we do this, and then pull that in like that. There we go. Oops. There we go. And then what we'll do is kind of the same process here, where if we shave this down, there we go. Actually, we'll keep the sides on. Because then what we do is grab this, extend that out like that, and then if we cut in and then extrude out like that, then we get this nice point on top. And then if we do it one more time, right there, then what we can do is something like that. Yeah, now it has just a bit more definition. Looks more like an actual proper clock tower. And to add even more definition to it, I think what we're gonna do is go around. I'll even extend it by down one, because I think that one of the bigger issues with it visually right now is that it's just kind of flat. So if we add a little bit more depth to it, so more things that are jutting in and out, I think that'll help quite a bit. So let's do the same thing around these edges here. And in case you missed some of the earlier parts of the stream, today is going to be very focused on testing, figuring out what looks good, trying to come up with ideas for how what direction we want to take this new world in. So today's very free-flowing, very experimental, just seeing what works and what doesn't. Yeah, something like that I think would look good. Hey, how's it going, Elitrox Boy 173? Since it'll be a vertical style world, you think some levels will make you shoot enemies while in the air? I don't know if I'll make that mandatory. It could be interesting, because that is definitely a difficult thing to do, which is fitting, because this is supposed to be the last main world before you get to the grand finale. So I think a bit of difficulty is certainly appropriate. I would just need to find a way to make that work, like, functionally, you know? Which I'm sure there's a way to. Go, and then we're going to fill this section in. There we go. Do the same across these other sides, and then we'll go down the rest of the tower, and then try adding in some extra bits and pieces like this to help make it feel a little bit more like a clock tower. Already, I do think that is certainly starting to help. Feels a little bit more shaped, a little more defined, which is good. And I think we're going to shrink down the clock tower hands a little bit. Just shrink them down like that. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, feeling a little more shapely. Feels less flat. There we go. And then I'm thinking that these sections will be flanked by these pillar things to help give it the extra definition we're looking for, whereas this thinner section will not be, to help give it both a little bit more contrast and also, and really that's actually just it, is just to give it more contrast. So one thing that is definitely important in level design, but especially speedrunning level design, is clarity, readability. One of the big things I did during my playtesting for the most recent demo, again, keep your eye out for that. Hopefully going to be coming out sometime this week, depending on Steam. But one of the key things that I was really focusing on during that playtest was making sure that there was a clear sense of readability, of legibility, that everything was pretty instantly recognizable, and that the player felt like they knew where to go without really needing too much direction. And if they did get a little lost, it didn't feel like they were lost for too long. Yeah, I think that looks nice. We'll do the same around the bottom edge here. Yeah, that looks nice. Like that. Yeah, okay. So now we're going to go into the material editor and start editing our materials. So if this is that color, and then this material we can make the dark color. I'm thinking that we're probably gonna want at least 2 or 3 for just the exterior, because what I'm picturing right now. Why is it not letting me select that material or this edge? What the heck? Is this part of a different? Oh shoot, that's part of a different mesh. Whoops. I'm gonna have to quickly recreate that. But anyways, as I was saying. What I'm kind of envisioning for... Shut up, Creative Cloud. Something I'm envisioning for how this world's going to look is having one main material for the exterior part, having a darker version of that material for maybe this section or this section, and then having another color as like an accent on the edges. I think that'll probably give us the best looking result. I mean, this is basically just turning into a better, ideally a better looking version of the windmills. And I am cool with that. I think that what we're gonna want to do is make this version just a darker version of the main material. Because I think, yeah, that'll help give it that bit of contrast we're looking for. So if the exterior is very red, we've got two options. We can either try to do something else that's warm as like a complement to the exterior, or something that's a bit more cool to give it a contrast. So really, basically just we're trying to figure out if we want a complement or contrast. Let's call you clock accent, I guess. Let's make it a bit of a purpley color. These are pretty saturated, as is, so I think we'll lower the saturation a bit on you and make this a bit dimmer. Something like that. And then we'll go to the material editor and then just select all of these faces. Not going to do anything too thorough for right now. Mostly just trying to get an idea of how this will look. And then we'll add our new accent material in here. And then assign that to these sections. Yeah, not really jiving with it too much. You guys just why is that happening? How did that get attached to the gear? What the heck? Okay, anyways, moving on from that. How's it going? I like trains. Hope you're having a good one. Okay, so first problem. We're definitely gonna want to make this a different texture. Let's make it just orderly. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Mostly just needs to look a bit different. Let's make this particularly dark. Say like 9, so it's pretty rich. Still not really liking the look of it. Nah, not really liking the color palette of that at all. Looks pretty grody. Honestly, I don't really think any of these are working that well, to be honest. Yeah, that looks better. Yeah, it looks better. But it's not quite saturated enough. It feels a little too at odds with the other color. Let's lighten this one up, and then definitely lighten this one up. Push it more towards a red as well. Yeah, I think the purple is still throwing it off though. It feels kind of cartoony almost. Let's try a bit of an orange color. Yeah, and then lower the value of that bit. Nah, definitely, okay. Definitely still looks way too bright, too colorful for what we're going for. We could try some more muted colors. Like a more realistic kind of brownish color palette, although I definitely think the accent color needs to be dim. So let's make this more of a brown. Still really not really liking the look of that. It feels a little too bland. Okay, see, now it kind of just looks like a house. Yeah, not really liking the look of this. Not liking the look of it at all. One thing we can do is just grab all this and then make that the exterior texture. It kind of helps. I like the shape, but it's the textures are definitely what's letting it down the most here. Yeah, might have to be a thing I do off stream, is just explore some color palettes in a little more detail. See if we can't come to something that's a little bit stronger looking. What happened to your camera? Oh, this is just my Game Boy camera. I've had it like this for a while. It is running through an actual Game Boy emulator right now to get you the crispest video quality. Yeah, I don't know. Visually, not jiving with it too much. Matter of fact, I think we're just gonna get rid of all these. World grid unlit. Except, there we go. Yeah, so now we just have the shapes and stuff. And one thing I do think is also kind of throwing it off is that this part's too short. If the whole thing was taller, the length of this, I think, would feel a bit more appropriate, but it feels a little proportionally kind of all over the place right now. Yeah, so that's definitely something we're going to want to be tweaking as we go along. Okay, so now what I'm thinking is how do we get this sort of vibe we're going for correct, right? So we've got this hell clock tower, we've got that idea. So what are some other elements we could play with to help make this place feel a little more realized? So we got a pretty decent idea of what we're going to do for this section. It's a clock tower. We could fill it with like kind of cool mansion decor, or we could lean more in the mechanical section with like the why did these guys get added to gear? How did that happen? How did this get added to the mesh? What the heck happened? This is so weird. Okay, well I'll have to clearly I'll have to re-import that later. But yeah, ignoring that part, we've got these gears to play with. So we could do stuff like filling the inside with a bunch of gears, making a really cool scene of a bunch of twisty and turny, spinny parts, and you gotta launch yourself through the middle hole, and you gotta line up some cool angles and shots and whatnot. Cool shenanigans and the like. As it rotates the entire floor mesh around it. But what do we want to do with the exterior to make it feel more hell-esque? Help it really sell the vibe that we're going for. So one obvious thing is enemies, right? But something I think could be interesting is to try to bring more of that like time element into it. So it could be things like pretty simple things like just having some fancy furniture and stuff lying around, even in the outdoor sections. Things to make it feel more fractured and splintered. Things like hourglasses or whatever to help sell the time theme a little more. Clock elements, sundials, all sorts of doodads and things like that. It could be kind of interesting to play around with. I am thinking. I'm racking my small brain. Okay, you know what? First thing I want to do. This is entirely not important, but I want to see what it would look like. So we're gonna seal this up temporarily. There we go. All right. So something I want to try here is let's go to props and demise. We're going to make a new blueprint that will be an actor, and we'll call it BP. Let's say BP window break. And we're gonna elevate that like so. Add a little ramp here. Go. And again, this is just purely for the sake of testing stuff visually to see how it comes together. So we're gonna do is add a super launcher right here. Pull it up a little bit. Cool. And then we'll grab the newly made window break item. First thing we need to do is add a box collision. There we go. This will just be our main collision. Pretty simple. And say, stop talking to me, Creative Cloud. I don't care. On component begin overlap, we're going to cast to BP first person character. So basically, it's checking to make sure that the thing overlapping with it is our player character, not anything else. And then what it'll do is, well, actually, what we'll need to do is go BP window. Object reference, and expose that on spawn. There we go. And we'll call that window reference. And I'll explain what we're doing with that in a little bit. Actually, you know what? I'll actually explain it right now, actually. Yeah. Get rid of these guys. Clean up this a little bit. Okay. So if we grab the window and then edit the code in here. we make a custom event, and we're gonna call that destroy self. This will be pretty simple. We'll just destroy actor. It'll probably play like a sound effect and spawn some particles and stuff a little bit later, but for now this will do. And then we will destroy self, and then do that. So basically what's gonna happen here, actually we'll set up an is valid real quick. This will just prevent potential jank from happening. So what we can do here is when we overlap with this object right here, what it'll do is it will, as soon as the player overlaps with it, it'll check for anything that it's referencing, which we set up down here, and then as soon as it detects that thing that it's referencing, it will then run this event, destroy actor. So as soon as we overlap with it, it'll play like the cool animation, it'll smash the window open, and then we'll go flying through. Cool effect, glass goes flying everywhere, it plays a big bombastic shattering sound, should be a good time. Something like that. So, whoops, I spawned myself in the ceiling. So, if L goes well, then there we go. We break through, play a cool sound effect, particles go flying. Works pretty darn good. So one other thing, we are probably going to want to get rid of these guys. So that way it does feel a little bit more... It feels more like there's actually... I'm trying to think of the words for it. I guess there's not collision on those, so it doesn't seem too janky, but it's weird when they're just floating in the air, all willy-nilly. I'm wondering if there's a way to just apply physics to these and like have them actually fly off. I haven't used physics much in Unreal. This would be a fun way to update that. If I can just find gravity. Or does it have to be to these? Enable gravity. Okay, so they do have gravity. It's just that nothing's actually pulling them down at all. Physics. What if I just say simulate physics on these? Does it just fall? No, it just sort of sits there. Interesting. Okay. Set to simulate physics, but collision enabled is incompatible. Oh, it needs collision to simulate physics. That makes sense. So we will enable... well, set the physics actor. I don't know why it's not working here. Maybe just say block all dynamic. Oh, there they go. Yeah, there we go. It's got physics. That's what we're looking for. Can I push it? Yeah, okay. Nice. I like that. So something that we could do here to make this actually work. And first we'll actually have a custom event called break. So we'll grab our 2 cubes here, and we'll say set simulate physics to true. There we go. And this is probably all we're really going to need to do for these. I'll actually might want to apply an impulse to them, so that way when you go flying through, they'll break open. So what we can do here is grab our window break effect here, and then we'll say clock ref. Set that to BP clock and there we go. And clock 2 ref. Should be the same thing, just so we can set both of them. And then we will run a sequence node here. And it'll basically do the same thing for all 3 of these, where it will run an is valid check. And this just can prevent crashes and stuff from happening. Where if something like somehow doesn't exist in the right spot, or something's misinputted, or somehow something gets deleted or doesn't load properly, this will check before trying to run code, and that can just prevent a lot of undue jank from happening. So then we'll run each of... Actually, this will be clock 2 ref. Yeah. So then each one of these will run break. Actually, we'll have those be separate breaks. Yeah. Because I think otherwise it might be trying to apply both to both at the same time, which is not really what we want to do. There we go. Okay, and then if we set up clock ref to each of these respectively... Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we need to actually turn off physics by default. Yeah. So we'll go to physics and turn simulate physics off. So they should just do the rotation as normal, and then we break through, and there they go. They break away. Nice. That's great. Okay. Gotta be honest, that was really not very difficult. I was kind of expecting learning how to use physics at all in Unreal to be more of a challenge, but that was really quite simple. Okay. So now to have now to have a little bit more impact, I think we're going to want to add velocity or impulse? Add impulse, yeah. And let's just get world location. There we go. Actually, we need to add a specific impulse. Maybe radial impulse? Yeah, there we go. So that we can get strength to it. Radius of 1. Let's give it a strength of like 10. This isn't really something I've messed around with all too well, so I don't really know what this is going to do. You know what? Screw it. 200. Let's go big or go home. Okay, it did send them flying. Not quite the direction I was looking for, but it did. It certainly did send them. Oh. Oh, okay, they're stuck on the death plane. Okay, they won't actually. You can't land on those. Okay. Okay, so one problem is that they do have collision, which is not ideal. Maybe I'll set it so like they ignore player collision, or they just go flying in such a way where they can't actually hit the player or something. Might be good. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, see right there I just hit him and then stopped. It's not great. Yeah, gonna have to find some way to make sure that those don't immensely screw with the player's speed. Oh, okay, cool. I got myself ejected from the wall. Okay, it doesn't really seem like it's launching them in the direction I actually want them to go. Say the strength is like 1,000. Give it a big-ass radius, like 20. Nope, they're still just kind of falling away. You like launch? Impulse? Add velocity change impulse? I don't even know what that does. Okay. You know what? We're delving into territories that I've never explored. That'll be saved for, I think, a later time. For now, this works pretty well. I like the effect that has. It's a cool little visual there. And this could be something fun to explore in future projects. Because one of my ideas for something I want to do after this would definitely need some pretty extensive work of physics, at least on like particles and destruction systems and stuff. So that'll be a lot of fun. Maybe. I'm drinking a lot of water. Okay. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so what other props would be fun for a clock tower type environment that we could work on? Could do some like fancier furniture. We could try some like a grandfather clock, like a smaller thing. I'll probably want to model that in Blender actually, and then import that because that's something I've been wanting to try out more. Maybe, actually, I'll probably draw it. I'll probably do a 2D drawing because I do want to do more Blender stuff. But the game is already so like 2D-ish that I think that could feel a little out of place. So we'll probably not do that, but that'll be a good thing to do for future stuff. Okay. You know what? I think let's go back to trying to figure out a nice color palette for this place. Why don't we? So I'm gonna just pull up on my other monitor here a color palette generator. We're just gonna cycle through it a couple times, see if we can't get a base color that we like, and then try to expand off of that in any particular direction. You know, this is kind of an interesting color. Let's try you. Okay. So we're gonna go to the textures, materials, and we'll go to level textures, demise. There we go. Let's start with the just general exterior texture, and let's give it the color we're that's not the right color. Is it hex sRGB? Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking at. And we'll set it to a full tint. I'm thinking maybe we want to get the colors down first, and then we'll worry about the texturing and what those should look like. Because I think that'll probably be a better structure to it, now that I'm thinking about it. So if we just grab all these sections here, like so, and then we make these exterior, and then we assign you. Okay, so it's definitely a lot more vivid, a lot more of a pinkish color than we're really after. So let's veer it more in the red territory. Yeah, I think that can work. It is a little saturated. So let's bring the saturation down just a skosh. Yeah, I think that works a little bit better. Does feel very primary colory still, so might dial it back a little. And then let's go ahead and grab this tint here. And then we're gonna make a slightly darker version of it. Down here, I always forget which one I forget which one I just did. Okay. Make you a little darker and a little bit less saturated, and set that to 1. There we go. And then we'll paint this section in with the clock dark. Go. And then select you, assign active material. There we are. Now it feels a little bit more more realized there. Although, you know what? One thing I think that could help this even more is something like this. Oops, that's the wrong direction. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. Yeah. That'll also be a good section where we can use a slightly different variant of color to help bring it to life. You know, let's grab it right here. Let's try this. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure out something about these intersections. Way to do those a little bit more cleanly. For now, we'll just get rid of them. And then we'll, yeah, figure out a way to do that slightly better looking later. Yeah, limitations like this are another reason I'm planning on probably migrating away from Cube Grid for my next project and into more manually placing assets and stuff and making more custom models in Blender. Blender's very fun. Character modeling in Blender is super hard, though. But definitely something I want to get better at, for sure. Okay, so we'll keep adding these little subtle inclines here. This will be a nice way to transition in and out of this slightly darker texture. I think that'll look nice. One other thing I was thinking about, probably won't do it because it would be a little too jarring from the rest of this world, is a bit more of a focus on like gradients. Like some textures just like depending on what position they are in the world having like a lighter or darker look to them. I think that could be really interesting, because one thing that I've seen interestingly enough, a lot of like Minecraft videos, because I'll watch those on occasion, like especially building stuff, because I think that can be really, really good for like practicing some of your visual work for like environment design, is gradients and having things be a little bit darker there, lower to the ground, lighter up, higher they are. It can kind of make a building feel a little bit more complete. So that's something I think could be really fun to mess around with. Okay, so let's change the color of our accent here. First again, we'll set this to a solid color. And we'll just try this brown texture and see how that looks. For now, we'll just select everything and make that this color. Although we'll probably want a lighter or darker version of this accent color just to give us a little bit more visual interest. Yeah, something like that. Don't really like the color. Not really vibing with the way it actually looks in execution, but we'll keep tweaking it and working it till we get there. Yeah, so we've got these reds. We got these 2 shades of red. So what would be something that would complement that well? We could try a blue, we could try, probably not a green because that feels way too Christmassy. Maybe more of like a gray or a black would be good. Let's just try like some grays and blacks and stuff. Yeah, that kind of works. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Even make that a little dimmer. Yeah, I think that can work actually. I think that can work pretty good. Okay, let's go ahead and add another version of the accent, and we'll say clock accent dark, and we'll make this probably close to black. Not quite there, but pretty close to it. And then we'll go ahead and add that into our list here. There we go. And we'll just paint that along these edges. Like so. There we go. Oops. Yeah, I think we'll probably do it to these slopes as well. I think that'll look nice. Yeah, let's try it first just by applying it to this section here. Yeah, okay, that's looking, that gives it a lot more dimension. I like the feel that that's starting to bring to it. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm liking the direction we're taking with this. This is starting to feel a lot better. I think I'm also gonna want to change this to be a rounder shape, instead of just being like a solid square for the clock face to go in. I think the rest of the building being pretty blocky I think that can work well. But I think that part at least should have some sense of roundness to it. Although this is a very blocky game in general, so not too big of a concern really. There we go. And I think we'll want to set these sections to be the dark accent as well, and then the spire. Might want to make this a lighter color instead of the accent, but let's we'll see how it looks. Yeah, I'm definitely liking the color direction we've got with this, though. I think this is something I feel like I probably should have done for the other worlds too. Now that I'm trying this out, of doing like color experimentation first and foremost, because this is I just think leading to a much faster realization of what I like and what I don't like. When I'm trying to like simultaneously texture everything, it kind of can muddy the process a bit, but this just feels a lot smoother to work with. I think those should be dark, actually. These corners would look better if they were, yeah, if these were also the dimmer texture. Yeah, okay, liking that a lot. Let's try it for the ledge of the door as well. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, yeah, pretty happy with that, Okay, let's try working on the floor section and then some of the interiors. Let's see how those look. So we had this one, Hell Rock, which we'll do the same thing we did to those, where we'll just get a solid color version of it down. Let's make it this lightish blue. Might be a little too bright for what we're going for here, but you never know till you try. So that will be Hell Rock. Assign you. Yeah, definitely too bright. I think maybe we want to keep some of the higher saturation to be a little more limited. We want to control that. Want to rein that in. So let's try taking it up to this darker, probably not quite a purple, maybe more of a turquoisey color. Maybe like a. We'll just try some stuff. See what we like. I think it should be pretty dark and pretty desaturated. So let's just try this dim blue. That's not bad. I don't mind that. Yeah, I really don't mind that. That's it's pretty nice, like, complement to it. Yeah, I like the feel that brings. It works well with the gray without being too distracting. Yeah, it works well. I like that. Okay, so let's try applying this to the inside. Oh, okay, well, I am gonna need to make a different texture for the floor, that's for sure. Because otherwise it is imperceptible. You're just lost in here without any texture detail. We do have this one, the darker version of the same texture. So if we go ahead and open that one up, and then set 2, 1, go. Make this dimmer. Can give that a spin. See how we like the look of that. After we add it here. And then if we assign that one here, and then here, and then all these interior sections, these walls will be also the darker texture. And then the floor here, plus the ceiling we can make just be that. And the ceiling will definitely be a different texture as we get a little further along. And in case I didn't mention it, or I did mention it, but in case you didn't hear it, right now the goal here is just to test out the colors first. We'll figure out what textures we want everything to be after we've got a stronger idea of the general direction we want everything to take, and the color palette. Instead of trying to rush headfirst into texturing and getting the colors and doing everything else, I think this will just be a more efficient workflow. You know what, I'll even, nah, actually that doesn't make sense. Ignore what I was about to say. Hello from school? I hope school is going well for you, System fan. Hope you're having a good one. Guess I realize this is why I should stream later in the days, because it does seem usually at this time people are doing stuff, but I like streaming earlier in the day. But I probably should wait, because a lot of people are busy. I think color palette wise, we've got a pretty good direction to go for. We got a pretty good direction to go in. We know sort of the general ideas. Playing around, I think, with these reds and blues with the grays as sort of the intermediates and accents to help complement and blend between those two is, I think, a really compelling visual direction to take this place in. So, yeah, feeling pretty good about the general direction we've got down. I think I might want to rework these a little bit, though. Let's see, because it currently uses the charcoal texture, which isn't actually used anywhere else. But I just think from a distance they should probably be either more bright or higher contrast or something. Maybe make them a pure black instead of a dark gray, so that way they have a higher reason to stick out from one another. Also want to change the shape up a little bit, like make them actually like triangles, like actual clock hands. I think that'll also help. Maybe some dark blue jagged rocks in the lava. I think that could work pretty well. Because I'm thinking, yeah, this will be very rocky. The blues will be very rocky, kind of like a cobalt-y color. And then the inside will also have those bluish colors. Although it did just occur to me that the color palette is not too dissimilar from Win Millionaire. Because if we go back to look at those, then it's like, yeah, it's very red, then blue on the inside. And then like purple floors and stuff out here. So we're definitely going to want to deliberately make sure we're not falling too far into just looking like this again. That's for sure. And, you know, looking at it again, it's definitely much more desaturated, so maybe that's not too much of a concern. And I think that should work pretty well for this world and give it some more contrast, but that'll definitely be something to factor in, as to not make it feel too much like a repeat of just the first world again, but with a slightly different palette and a slightly different concept, you know? Ooh, that could be fun. Maybe like you slide down the tops of one of those or something. That could be a good concept. Yeah, okay. I could see that working. Okay, so the insides could be pretty simple. We could decorate with more with like portraits and stuff. We could have like put them into more like fancy golden frames and stuff. We could do things like fancy couches and big rugs. Grandfather clocks would probably be a good thing to have to help sell the vibe. I can imagine that working pretty well. Yeah. Now, one question I do have. Unreal, change time scale, maybe? So, one thing I'm thinking, set global time dilation. That's crazy. Okay, so apparently there's something called set time dilation. Let's give that a try. Why don't we? Let's see if we can like change the flow of time. Alright, we're gonna make a new blueprint. Make you probably an actor. So we'll call that BP time slow. And let's put this down. Let's add a collision box. And we'll just add a sprite. We'll just use like Gunther. Yeah, we use the Gunther attack sprite and just shrink it down to fit. Yeah, we'll just use him as a little stand-in for an actual visual. Okay, so we'll set you to no collision. And then we'll grab the box collision here. And then we will go to the event graph and then say on component begin overlap, cast to BP, first person character. So as long as the player is overlapping with this box, we'll do something. And let's try set time dilation. Set global time dilation. Set it to 1. And just to make sure that it works, let's print string, and we'll just say hello. Yeah, we'll just keep it at hello. So we pass through it. It says hello. I don't know if anything changed. I think it might feel a little faster. No, I think I'm gaslighting myself. I think it's normal. Is it faster? So that's a normal speed. No, I think it's Is it faster? Let's make it more obvious, why don't we? Because 1.0 is probably default time dilation, if I had to guess. Let's set it to double speed. Holy shit, that works. Okay. Guys, I think we've got our concept. I think I know what we're doing with this world. Oh, that even speeds up the timer. That's crazy. Oh, that's really cool. That's super cool. Guys, I'm excited about this one. This world's gonna be so cool. Oh, this is gonna be so insane. Ah, that's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, start with the theme. Yeah, Hell Clock Tower. It is called Timely Demise. It is indeed what it's called. Okay, we'll have time slow and then time fast. Let's put another one of those down and then make it big. And we'll set you to like 0.5 or something. So this is so we go crazy fast. Okay, and then time slow motion. Oh, well, okay, that does kind of mess with some of the sprites I'm seeing. Yeah, that is a bit of a problem. I'd have to fix some things to be a little more speed proof. Seems like things otherwise work pretty well, though. Yeah, because right here, you see that'll come back a little bit because it's playing out for longer than it should. And that is an issue that is probably going to be noticeable on a lot of things, So that might force me to update a lot of stuff to not have visual jank. 8. Now, yeah, the timer's definitely slowed down too. So we'll definitely want to experiment with this to find like what's a comfortable middle ground. I don't really want to use the time slow too much. I'll probably make it optional for like difficult sections instead of forcing the player to slow time down. Because I think playing with time speeding up is definitely a lot of fun, but I could see time slowing down not being quite as fun. This is fun though, just hopping around at Mach speed. Okay, for the sake of experimentation, what happens if we just like, make the speed like unreasonably fast? Let's try 4 times. This is too much. This is not controllable speed. Where the heck is the friggin' player start? Yeah, let's pull that out of the wall so it stops just spawning me in the floor over and over. Okay, one thing I wanna try. Oh, this is so hard to control. Okay, yeah, that is so deranged. You can't even, the death animation doesn't even have time to play because it goes so fast that it's like, it starts coming down and then warp. Okay, so clearly a lot of things were not built for time dilation in mind. So we'll definitely need to reconsider some things and maybe not go too crazy with it so that things don't get crazily desynced. But I could see there being a lot of potential for this as like an obstacle type. Maybe even make these like more optional. Or like somewhat optional, like you can avoid them, or maybe enemies. There's like I mentioned a time mage, so maybe there's like an enemy that can like constantly speed up time while he's alive, or slows time down or something while you're in the radius. It's like using something like that. I think generally going slow isn't very fun, so I'm probably not going to use that much. If anything, it'll be optional for like a really difficult section, so that way you could slow down time if you really wanted to give you a leg up. But I think making higher speed be forced could be a lot of fun to play around with. Maybe even like a section near one of the end of the stages where it's like, it puts you into like Mach 10 speed or something, and you go through like this big, fast like platforming section where you're dodging left and right, going super fast, up and down and all around. Something like that could be really, really entertaining. Shoot an hourglass at starts quick speed? Yeah, it's like, could shoot an hourglass or like run through, because in my head I'm visualizing like running through like a transparent grid thing that has a bunch of like lights on it. Not lights, but like arrows. So those arrows would indicate the speed. Like you'd have red ones going up or green ones going down to indicate going down, red ones up to indicate increasing speed. I'll probably swap that actually. And then like the more arrows or the more intense the color, the faster the rotation of it is, then you could like pretty intuitively know what does what with which speed. But I think we've probably stumbled across our main gimmick for this world already. And I'm kind of shocked it was this easy to get working. But some things like, yeah, you can see those animations don't have time to play. These animations disappear instantly. So some things are going to break, some things are going to need fixing. Taking a nice little stretch there. Okay, so we got some ideas with time speeding up and slowing down. Now I think that I want to try putting some of this into practice a little bit and think about how we would actually teach any of this nonsense to a player. So we're not going to worry too much about actually texturing anything right now. We'll just make a copy of this map. We'll call it BP. Let's call it Demise 1. Go. And we'll just get rid of all this stuff for now. Don't need it. Don't need spooky lighting in there either. Get rid of all... Oops. Didn't mean to get rid of the nav mesh. We do need that. There we go. Okay. Now we got a nice empty canvas to work with. Set these to 0, 0, 0. Then we'll just put a solid starting base down for our guy to run around on. This feels weird running around at normal speed. Now that the friggin' time dilation active. Okay, so here's my first major question. I think I want to face the moon too. That'd be kind of a cool effect, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking that we start out in some sort of a building, or we can start outside maybe, so that way the player has more chance to run up and learn their mobility, perhaps. Yeah, so I'm thinking we're probably gonna want to introduce 1 or 2 new enemies to this level, as well as teaching the time mechanics. So I'm thinking we have some sort of initial section that takes place outdoors with like the big clock tower visible in the distance. And then we will fight a couple of dudes. We will have some speed up, maybe like a long section where you run closer to the tower in high speed mode, not really having to worry about fighting any enemies, just getting used to the new controls and being able to do some crazy fast, cool movement to get over there really quickly. What if instead of a pendulum, the clock uses a steady flow of lava at a time? I don't know how that would work, but that's cool. Will B die in Void Collector? Probably not. Maybe in Quick Speed you could have a jump boost to counterbalance jump timings being tighter. That could be interesting, or maybe we could just go all in into having it be difficult. What if instead of Death Plane there was lava? That's kind of what it's trying to be. I haven't actually edited it other than just making the colors a little different. But it'll look more actually lava-y. Instead of a level where you go into a building, what about one where you escape a building? I mean, I've kind of done both at this point. But I like the structure of levels like Big Windmill and other things like that, because I think it's fun to see your objective right from the start and then work your way over there. I just think that's structurally a lot of fun to do. Okay, but yeah, as I was saying, here's what I'm thinking. We start out here. We have some sort of big, wide open section. We fight some enemies. We run around for a bit. We yada yada, and then as we head towards the clock tower, then we enter like a speed up panel or shoot some doodad to start speed going to start the speed up process, and then we go really fast over to it, and then time goes back to normal. We climb up, maybe have like a cool slow-mo section where you're dodging a bunch of projectiles in midair, you're going, you're matrixing around and stuff, and then you get up to the top, you launch yourself through the glass part, through the clock hands of the clock tower, and then land onto the exit. That'll be a really bombastic way to open out the world, and yeah, I'm all for that. I think that sounds like that'll be a really fun idea. Okay, so I'm gonna start by just making a big platform, and this is more of a placeholder than anything else. Don't really know what I want to put here yet. I need to figure out what I want to do for the enemies, because as I've mentioned, there's going to be like kind of a demon-y type enemy. I want to figure out a cool, like, unique attack for him to have. One idea that I had was like kind of a guy who's kind of like card counter in a way. But whenever you're on the ground, they would do like a big ground slam, and then that would, ride across the ground towards you. You'd have to jump over that. So that could be a good one for like our generic sort of demon guy enemy. I want to add some more Voltaic forms. Like I was thinking Voltaic Cuboid could be kind of interesting. Voltaic Jimmy would be fun to play around with. Not a ton of other enemies I'd want to do a Voltaic form for, but I think those two in particular have a lot of potential for being fun to fight around. I want to do... This would probably be the gimmick for the second level, but some guy who like summons the demon enemies over and over, or summons weak demon enemies over and over. Basically a weaker, more common version of the Snowman Sorcerer, where they like press some buttons and then summon in some demons and stuff to fight you. Idea for level name: all in line, all in time. That could be cool. Is there a point if the timer also speeds up? It's fun. It's difficult. The point of the time speeding up is just that it's difficult to control going faster, and it's also fun to go fast. So it's more so to play with your expectations and reaction time rather than anything else. Okay. Yeah. So I think the rest of this is going to be kind of dependent on the enemies we have to work with. So I'll want to get started on those probably today after the stream ends, because I got a lot of ideas I'm pretty excited about toying around with. I'm thinking a lot. I'm thinking real hard. I think we'll start by building the clock tower at the end of the stage. And this will probably feel very very windmill-ish to people, I would imagine. So we'll start by just getting our fundamental structure down. You know, we'll even indent this by 1 extra just to make it feel a little bit more focused. Yeah, we can see some of the contrast there a little bit better. Cool. Then we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 is probably a decent number. I'd say 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. Yeah, something like that. Okay, where is the moon? The moon's right there. So I think we'll want to have the path going like, going like this, up to it. And we'll make this an actual like obstacle later. Right now I'm just trying to figure out the layout of stuff and getting the scale down. That nice and centered. Yeah, there we go. Then get that about right there, I think. So I gotta get my posture back in order, not lounging around today. Got serious business to do. Gotta be upright and at attention. Is it misaligned? Or am I just seeing things? No, it's okay. Just why is it selecting the thing behind it? That's weird. What the heck is going on here? Yeah, see that's like it's like going behind it. Oh, because they're not on the same layer. I'm stupid. Ignore that. I'm just dumb. There we go. Now it'll line up properly. There we go. Okay, so now we extend this out like so. Yeah. Okay, and then we will shave this down. Yeah, now we got a nice point on our spire. Oh, I really do like the moon in the back. That'll be, especially for like over here. Yeah, I really like that. That's a fun visual. Trying to set stream and shit my pants in terror. No way. What if, instead of going up the inside, it was going all around? I think both could work pretty well. That is a good idea for using the exterior more, to give it more of a difference from Big Windmill. That could be good, especially if we have like the gears and stuff all spinning around on the outside. I like your thinking. Let's see. Where the hell are we anyways? Hell. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut on the inside here. So we're gonna start making a big divot here. There we go. And then we can continue to cut this section downwards. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing, but up. Whoops. And right there. Perfect. So now we've got it all hollowed out. Okay, might have cut it a little bit too low, as a matter of fact. There we are. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is slow the camera speed down so I'm not flying all over the place, whipping around like a maniac. And then we extend this out, I think probably by 2 would be the best look. So 1, 2. Yep. And then we go 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. This is something I've noticed I really enjoy doing, is I just like towers a lot. Like when I'm coming up with ideas for like cool settings or things, I like towers. I like fights that take place on the top of something. Like you work your way all the way up to the top and you have a cool showdown at the very top of it. I like being able to like see some sort of central goal. Like one of the first game ideas I had ages and ages ago was all about getting to this big tower, and the idea is that you'd be able to see it from like anywhere in the game. It's just always lurking in the distance, which I then later played Half-Life 2, and then they just did that. Which I think it's probably just kind of a common thing, because towers are just cool. It's like a cool thing to have something that you can always see. It's always lurking in the distance, going up higher and higher. Such a fun, like, idea. Oh wait, I forgot to... Shit, that was kind of a waste of time, because now I gotta friggin' add the... whatever it's called. Yeah, I'm adding this thing. The trim. The baseboard. Yeah, so in case you missed earlier when I was making a smaller version of this as just a test to get the idea down of what some of the geometry was going to look like for this world. One of the things that I did was a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I need to figure out what's going on with YouTube, because I realize it loves looping the playlist. Like, it likes picking like 10 songs from the playlist and just looping them over and over, which is very annoying. But yeah, something like this that'll go around these sections here to give it more of a contrast in terms of depth. Help things stick out a lot more, help things look a lot nicer. And that's it's one of the many tips I've learned about making video game environments by watching Minecraft videos. It's interesting because, you know, as a 22-year-old now, it does feel weird to like sit down and watch Minecraft videos as if I'm still in my younger days. But some of the stuff that you can find is actually quite good and like chill and just teaches you how to build shit, and like it's just nice, just good. In particular, there's one channel I've been enjoying a lot called BOO, where he makes these like really nice, relaxingly edited videos where he just like talks about this building process, and he's really good at it. He makes stuff that looks so nice, but just like this like really intricately detailed environment design, and it's so like impressive, and like what he does in friggin' Minecraft of all things, and it's one of those things that makes me like really want to get more into environment designing and modeling and stuff, because it just looks really cool. And the editing isn't like overly hyperactive or anything either, because that's something that really can throw me off about a lot of that kind of video, is when it's super like overly hyperactive at all times, and it's like trying to keep your attention, trying to fight for your eyeballs and the YouTube algorithm and whatever. So I appreciate a slow video, you know, put some nice piano on, just give me like a nice little journey, you know, give me these nice cool looking camera shots. Reverse tower. Towers are just lame windmills. It's not just a tower, it's a gear tower. So there's a BOO head now? This is not a recent thing. I should clarify. I've liked his stuff for a decent bit now. Probably started watching him back in the pandemic, if I had to recall. But yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. It sort of feels like it's like comfort food, you know. It's like filling something that I used to watch when I was a kid, but like made in a way that I can appreciate as an adult now. Okay, anyways, as I was saying, one of the many lessons that I've learned from watching that is that one of the things you really want to do with this sort of building is you want to make sure that it doesn't feel too flat. Like, sections of flatness are alright, but you want to have things that are indented, things that are outdented, instead of having something that feels just like a sheer face, something that feels like it's got a bit more structure to it, a bit more place to it. So that's what this is supposed to do for us. It will help bring the whole thing just that little bit more together. So I mentioned on, I think one of the maybe last stream, maybe one of the streams before that, that I want to do some more like celebratory things here and there, because I'm just grateful of all the people who show up and watch my stuff. It's been a very cool experience, so some sort of like events to like celebrate and thank the audience. So I was asking, I did a poll asking people what sort of things they'd want to see. It's more of a forum than a poll. And the answers haven't been the most helpful. Some of them are fun. Like, somebody suggested doing a doodling stream. I think that could be fun. Like, maybe a doodling Q&A. Like, instead of just a Q&A, like, I draw the answers, or, like, I draw while I do the answers. Something like that could be fun. But there were some other pretty out there suggestions, which, you know, I appreciate the creativity on them, but I don't know if they'd be things that I would exactly be good at doing. One of the big things I think would be really fun after this game's development is wrapped up, so probably sometime in like May or like late April, depending, would be like chat makes a game. So you guys would like be able to make assets and stuff, come up with a theme. I would do the development stuff, and wouldn't be a super long-term thing. Maybe I'd just stream every day for a little bit while we're working on it, just to have some fun trying that project out. But I think it'd be a cool thing. Fortunately, none of the suggestions were quite too stupid. Because when you're like, hey guys, I'm wondering what sort of things you want me to do, there's always like, there's a little part in the back of my brain that's like, that like feels like somebody's gonna think of like, what's the worst possible thing I could suggest for this person to do, and then they just suggest that. But fortunately, people were pretty chill, I would say. Is that off center? That looks off center. Let's line it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll do that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, cool. Now it is centered. So I'm gonna carve these sections in here. Like so. There we are. And then if we do like this, and smooth out all these edges, which it occurred to me I didn't really need to do it like that. I could have just made it a larger square and then pulled in the edges, but whatever. We're already this far in, so we might as well continue. But yeah, still is pretty blocky, which is fine. This whole game is pretty blocky, but with just that little bit of extra edge, it suddenly feels a whole lot more clock tower-y-ish. Oh, that's not the right section at all. Yeah, I think I'll probably make these a little bit, like, wider, perhaps? Something like this. Yeah, I think that'll work out well. Yeah. That looks better. We'll do the same here. Yeah, that looks better. Looks better. Did you read my building a big windmill model IRL suggestion? I did. I don't know how I would do that. It's a fun idea. That's one of the ones where it's like, it's a fun idea, but I'm a graphic designer. That's the major I'm currently doing at college. And occasionally we've had to do physical things for that. Like I've had to build a lot of cubes and stuff to like put your thing on. I had a whole class that was about like building stuff in 3D. I've had like elements where you have to like make one of the projects was like making a cube. So you have to make a design for a cube and then print it out and fold it onto like an actual 3D cube as like a visual, like a 3D infographic, basically. And I am so bad at building things with my hands. It is insane. Like I cannot just build a cube out of paper that looks good to save my life. Lunchtime's out, lunchtime's over, gotta go. Well, thanks for stopping in, System Fan. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'm stupid. I'm bad. I'm bad at building. How does music vary between each world, or do you not have many songs yet? Each world has a different song. So there's one song per world. I'd like to do more than that, but I want to pay my composer well, and I don't have a ton of money, so sticking to one song per world for now. Despite a lot of ice cream sticks and glue, the worse it looks, the better. Yeah, that could be fun. Okay, so now we've got... and... go. And we got those guys in there. So now we're going to put the clock hands on. So we'll do the outer one. We'll set you a speed of like 40. And then we'll put another one right here. There. Set a speed to 20. Actually, it should be negatives, I think. And then this one will shrink down to be the hour hand. We'll set stutter on... oh, okay, now it should be 30. Set your rotation rate down to 1. Oh yeah, because it's for seconds. But yeah. Well, I guess... now that's the hour hand. That one should take less often. Whatever. Well, I'll think about that later. This is the general effect that we're going for, basically. And can we even see that from the ground? Is that visible? It is. It is perfectly visible. Sweet. Fantastic. Yeah, okay. I'm really pleased with how this is coming along. You just invent glass? I did. No one's ever made it before. So this is basically the end of the level, is what I'm thinking. So as I said before, in case you missed it, the level will probably start... oh, the outline effect is... if you go too far away, the outline effect starts breaking. That's... should definitely still be in range for the outline effect. That's kind of badass, though, isn't it? That's kind of sick. That's kind of cool as hell. That, like, the whole thing kind of, like, fades in as you get close. That's kind of cool. It's not even on purpose, but it looks sweet. That is so cool. Anyways, as I was saying, start out over here, you fight some dudes, get introduced to some stuff, and then we get introduced to the time dilation gimmick. So you hit a little panel and you start going super fast. Time speeds up. You go through here, time probably slows back down to normal, you platform your way up, maybe enter slow mode and like break through here in slow motion or something. Maybe make that skippable, because I don't really want forced slow motion to be a thing, because I could see that being really boring and not very fun to deal with. So we'll see. But let's start by testing our idea on a larger scale. Let's grab a super launcher, put you right here. Let's grab a window break. There we are. And then line it up just so. Then do this. I'll probably need to add some sort of an indicator that you can do this, so that way it feels more intuitive, because I can see players not really knowing that they should just run at it. Face first. But yeah, you go boom, and then it'll break. These hands will fall away. They'll do like a little physics interaction. They'll start flying around everywhere. It'll be awesome. And you know what? I'm out of curiosity. I was just talking about the form, the Google form about people's ideas. Let me see if there's any new ideas. No, okay. I was gonna read them out loud to get your guys' thoughts on it, but there's nothing new. Okay. So now what we gotta do is grab our window break, and then hook up the window to the window, and then hook up both of the clock hands. So that way it should go boom, and then the hands fall away. Isn't that so cool? Isn't that so cool? Look at that, look at that. It's fantastic. It's simply fantastic. Just a little bit of physics, and it just... Bam! It's so fun. That's something I really want to do more of and double down on, and triple down on, quadruple down on, is just ideas that are cool and fun. Because when I was doing some of my reworking of some of the previous levels, there were some things I was going to change because it was like, well, from a gameplay perspective, it doesn't really make sense for it to be here. Like there's oh, go back to the old tower. For instance, at the top of Big Windmill, there's a section where there's a Slapmo who you basically just push off the top of the building, and he falls down and dies. And I was considering getting rid of it, because I was like, hey, you just kind of do the same thing every time. It doesn't really add a whole lot from a gameplay perspective. But from a gameplay perspective, for one, it does give you a reason to go around to the back of the tower, which is an interesting wrinkle on the speedrun. But more importantly, it's just fun to like hit him with a knockback, and then he goes... It's a fun interaction. It can let you strategize about pushing him off and then getting that juice regained later. It can give you strats where you have to fight him from up top. So I want to do more things where I add something or keep something in just because it's fun and not worrying too hard about everything being the most well-designed, as long as it's still well-designed, but you know what I mean. I don't know if you do. I feel like sometimes I'm just saying shit. Anyways, let's put a good old fast time thing here. Whoops. Set you to masked unlit. There we go. So we run through here, and in case you missed it, we do have a handy dandy little feature called time dilation, which just lets us speed up and slow down the flow of time. It's very cool. Very, very interesting that this is just a thing that's built in. And it will require us fixing some things, for sure. Some things don't really play super nice with it. Mostly UI things, like this explosion here just kind of doesn't really work at high speed. But it's funny. Sure is funny. And obviously it won't actually be that fast. Probably something like 1.5, maybe 2 times at the highest. We'll do some experimentation, see what works. And it does make the combo counter and the regular and the timer and the combo speed, those still move at the regular times, which I think could make for a really interesting voltaic challenge where you have to like grab a lot of gloobs as fast as possible with even less wiggle room than you would normally have. A lot of fun ideas we could do with this. Abyss Assembler. Okay. Yeah, so that's the idea for that. Yeah, okay. I think I'll probably call it there for today. I've got some ideas for enemies, but I can't really draw them on stream because it's set up on my tablet, so I think I'm gonna do some sketching and ideation to come up with some of the enemies. We'll keep working on the graphics. Hopefully get a video for you guys sometime this week to go along with the release of the new demo. And that'll be out as soon as I can manage it. Well, as soon as Steam says that I can. But the demo's done. It's ready to go. Just waiting on Steam for verification on that. Hopefully get a trailer out, new video on that, talking about what everything includes. Maybe give you a little look at this new content as well that I'm working on. But yeah, there's a lot to be excited about for this world with the time speeding up and slowing down and flying around and climbing up the towers and stuff. Should be a good time. But as always, thank you everybody who decided to tune in today. Always appreciate the support. And no, actually I was gonna say have a Merry Christmas, but I should be streaming Christmas Eve. So I guess still Merry Christmas, but I'll say it again next Tuesday. Alright, that'll be it.